Do you ever feel numbness in your hands or face? Ever get dizzy for no reason or have sudden memory lapses that feel off? These may not just be signs of getting older, they could be your body's desperate cry for help, warning you about a potential stroke. Most people think strokes are only caused by high blood pressure or clogged arteries, but what if I told you that certain vitamin deficiencies, yes, something as basic as missing vitamins in your daily diet, can silently damage your blood vessels, make your blood dangerously thick, and even raise your risk of brain clots? In this video, we're going to reveal the 5 hidden vitamin deficiencies that could drastically increase your risk of stroke, and more importantly, how you can fix them before it's too late. If you care about your brain, your heart, and your long-term health, make sure you watch this video till the end. Before we start, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to help the video reach more people who will benefit from it. Let's get into it. 1. Vitamin C deficiency. Most people see vitamin C as just an immune-boosting vitamin, and never in a million years associate its deficiency with an increased risk of stroke. But the truth is, not getting enough vitamin C can quietly damage your blood vessels and increase your stroke risk. And there's solid science to back it up. Vitamin C is essential for collagen production, which helps keep blood vessels strong and flexible. Without it, vessels become weak and more prone to rupture, especially in the brain. A 2014 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that nearly half of all patients who suffered hemorrhagic strokes were vitamin C deficient. The more severe the deficiency, the worse the stroke. It's also a powerful antioxidant that protects your arteries from inflammation and plaque buildup, both of which can lead to blockages and ischemic stroke. A study in the journal Stroke followed people for 10 years and found that those with higher vitamin C levels had a much lower risk of stroke. Vitamin C even plays a role in regulating blood pressure. A 2012 meta-analysis showed that supplementing with vitamin C helped reduce high blood pressure, a major risk factor for both types of stroke. Surprisingly, many people are deficient and don't know it, especially smokers, people with chronic stress, poor diets, or certain health conditions. And since vitamin C isn't stored in the body, your levels can drop quickly if you're not regularly getting it from food or supplements. So while most people think of vitamin C as just a cold remedy, it's actually protecting your brain and arteries in ways you might never have imagined. Ignoring it can be a serious mistake. The best way to stay protected is to get your vitamin C from food. Some of the richest natural sources include camu camu berry, acerola cherry, amla, Indian gooseberry, kiwi, papaya, red bell peppers, and guavas. These foods are far more powerful than oranges alone. If you do choose to supplement, avoid cheap synthetic forms like pure ascorbic acid, which can be harsh on the stomach and lacks the full spectrum of co-nutrients found in nature. Instead, look for whole food-based vitamin C powders, especially ones made from camu camu or acerola. They're incredibly potent and better absorbed by the body. 2. Vitamin B12 deficiency. Most people know vitamin B12 as the energy vitamin, famous for boosting mood and fighting fatigue. But what they don't realize is that a deficiency in B12 can quietly increase the risk of stroke, even if you feel fine. Vitamin B12 plays a crucial role in maintaining a healthy nervous system and producing red blood cells. But perhaps one of its most overlooked functions is regulating levels of a compound in the blood called homocysteine. When B12 levels drop, homocysteine levels rise, and that's a problem. Elevated homocysteine is a well-established risk factor for stroke and cardiovascular disease because it damages the lining of blood vessels, promotes inflammation, and increases the risk of blood clots. In fact, a study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that individuals with high homocysteine levels had double the risk of stroke compared to those with normal levels. Vitamin B12, along with folate and vitamin B6, helps keep homocysteine in check. So if you're low on B12, that protective system breaks down. But the danger doesn't stop there. B12 deficiency can also lead to megaloblastic anemia, which reduces oxygen delivery to the brain. Over time, this lack of oxygen can weaken brain tissue, increase the risk of silent strokes, and impair cognitive function, sometimes long before symptoms appear. Older adults, vegetarians, vegans, and people with digestive issues like low stomach acid, gastritis, or those taking acid-blocking medications are particularly at risk. That's because B12 from food, mainly animal products like liver, eggs, meat, dairy, and fish, requires sufficient stomach acid for proper absorption. As we age, this process becomes less efficient. If you're supplementing, the best forms to look for are methylcobalamin or adenosylcobalamin, which are more bioavailable and better utilized by the body than the cheaper cyanocobalamin form. 3. Vitamin D deficiency. Did you know that rates of stroke were much lower hundreds of years ago, when our forefathers spent most of their time outdoors, working, walking, farming, with no fear of the sun and no obsession with sunscreen? While it's true that many factors were different back then, from diet to environment, one undeniable truth is that they had much higher levels of natural vitamin D, and that matters more than most people realize. Today, vitamin D deficiency is incredibly common, especially in regions with limited sunlight, in people who spend most of their time indoors, and in those who consistently use sunscreen, cover their skin, or have darker skin tones. But beyond its well-known role in supporting bone health and immunity, vitamin D also plays a critical role in protecting your brain and blood vessels from stroke. Vitamin D helps regulate blood pressure, support healthy blood vessel function, and reduce systemic inflammation, all key factors in stroke prevention. A deficiency in vitamin D disrupts these processes, increasing the risk of both ischemic stroke, caused by clots, and hemorrhagic stroke, caused by bleeding. A 2018 meta-analysis investigated 19 studies comparing stroke risk between individuals with low versus high vitamin D levels. The results showed approximately 1.62 increase in overall stroke risk for those with low vitamin D. Importantly, when isolating ischemic strokes, the association was even stronger. Another large review of studies found that people with the lowest levels of vitamin D in their blood had a much higher risk of having a stroke or other serious blood vessel problems in the brain compared to those with the highest levels of vitamin D. The mechanism is clear. Without enough vitamin D, blood vessels become less elastic, blood pressure creeps up, inflammation increases, and the blood becomes more prone to clotting, all of which create the perfect storm for a stroke. Vitamin D deficiency also affects the brain directly. Low levels have been linked to poorer brain function, faster cognitive decline, and a greater likelihood of silent strokes, small symptomless brain injuries that add up over time. If you're not getting enough direct sun exposure, at least 15-20 minutes several times a week without sunscreen, supplementation may be necessary. When supplementing, opt for vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, the form your body produces naturally from sunlight. And for best results, consider pairing it with vitamin K2, which helps direct calcium to your bones and away from your arteries, preventing calcification. So while modern life has given us many conveniences, it's also distanced us from one of the most important nutrients for our vascular and neurological health. 4. Vitamin K2 deficiency. When people hear the word vitamin K, they often think of blood clotting, but most have never even heard of vitamin K2, let alone realize that not getting enough of it could silently raise their risk of stroke. Yet this underrated nutrient plays a powerful role in protecting your arteries, your brain, and your life. Vitamin K2's most crucial function is its ability to direct calcium where it belongs, into your bones and teeth, and keep it out of places it shouldn't be, like your arteries. Without enough K2, calcium from food or supplements can start building up in artery walls, making them stiff, narrow, and more prone to blockages, a major risk factor for ischemic stroke. In fact, a large Dutch study called the Rotterdam study found that people with the highest intake of vitamin K2 had a 50% lower risk of severe arterial calcification and were far less likely to die from heart disease or stroke. Interestingly, this protective effect was not seen with vitamin K1, which is found in leafy greens. It was specifically K2, found in certain fermented foods and animal products, that made the difference. Unfortunately, vitamin K2 is severely lacking in modern diets. It's found in traditional fermented foods like natto, a Japanese soybean dish, aged cheeses, egg yolks, grass-fed butter, and organ meats, foods many people rarely eat anymore. And while your gut bacteria can produce small amounts of K2, it's usually not enough to meet your body's needs, especially if your microbiome is compromised. Many people who are calcium deficient or take high doses of vitamin D3 don't realize that without enough K2, they may be pushing calcium into the wrong places. This is why experts often recommend taking vitamin D3 and K2 together, to make sure the calcium you absorb goes to your bones, not your arteries. If you're considering supplementation, look for the MK7 form of vitamin K2, which stays in the bloodstream longer and is more effective at reducing arterial calcification than MK4. And remember, this isn't just about your heart, your brain depends on healthy circulation too. While not a vitamin, magnesium is one of the most important yet most overlooked minerals when it comes to preventing stroke. Magnesium helps regulate blood pressure, supports healthy blood vessel function, balances electrolytes, and keeps inflammation in check. When you're deficient, the arteries can become stiff and narrow, blood pressure may rise, and the risk of both ischemic stroke, caused by clots, and hemorrhagic stroke, caused by bleeding, increases significantly. In a study published in the journal Stroke, researchers followed more than 14,000 individuals and found that those with higher magnesium intake had a significantly lower risk of stroke, especially ischemic stroke. Even a modest increase in dietary magnesium, as little as 100 milligrams per day, was associated with a measurable reduction in stroke risk. Low magnesium levels are also linked to atrial fibrillation, a condition that causes an irregular heartbeat and is a major risk factor for stroke due to the formation of blood clots in the heart. Magnesium helps stabilize heart rhythm, and deficiency can make AFib more likely, increasing stroke risk further. What makes magnesium deficiency particularly dangerous is how common and silent it is. Stress, processed foods, alcohol, certain medications, and even common conditions like diabetes or digestive issues can deplete magnesium stores over time. And since magnesium is primarily found in foods like dark leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, avocados, nuts, and whole grains, most modern diets simply don't provide enough. If you're thinking about supplementation, magnesium glycinate or magnesium citrate are good options for better absorption and fewer digestive issues. But regardless of how you get it, ensuring your magnesium intake is adequate can do far more than prevent cramps or fatigue. It could literally protect your brain from a life-altering stroke. So as you've seen, these silent deficiencies, whether it's vitamin C, B12, D, K2, or magnesium, can quietly set the stage for a stroke without warning. Don't wait for symptoms to show up. Nourish your body, check your levels, and choose whole, natural sources whenever possible. And as always, consult your healthcare provider before starting or stopping any supplement. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more science-backed health content, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.